Hey, Ben, a lot going on in this trial today, and we're going to get to it all. First, as you said, Judge Beverly Cannone did not throw out any of the 3 charges against Karen Read. Now, Read's attorney, Alan Jackson, made a similar motion during Read's first trial last year, and that was also rejected. This is a fairly standard procedure at this point in a criminal trial. Jackson argued that the prosecution has failed to show enough evidence for anyone to conclude that Karen Read is guilty of second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter, or leaving the scene of an accident.
The Commonwealth, at the end of the day, has presented their best case. They've done their best. Some would say they've done their worst. And their case has failed.
The evidence of collision is abundant, but suffice to say there are taillight fragments from the defendant's own Lexus, from her shattered right taillight, that are found in Mr. O'Keefe's clothes.
This witness, Mr. Brennan.
Now, the judge didn't need to think about it. She immediately denied the motion to dismiss. After that, the defense called its first witness. Matthew DeSogra is a crash reconstructionist specializing in vehicle data. Now, he criticized a prosecution expert named Shannon Burgess for the way that Burgess synchronized the clocks from Read's SUV and John O'Keefe's iPhone. DeSogra says most of the possibilities that Burgess found, show O'Keefe last locked his phone after Read's SUV had recorded a sudden backing up maneuver. Now, the implication of that would be that John O'Keefe was still alive after that maneuver. Now, after that witness left the stand, the judge sent the jury home for the weekend, but the trial continued with a hearing. The defense called to the stand a childhood friend of former trooper Michael Proctor. Jonathan Demandis was on a text chain with Proctor and others, and that text chain included the insulting messages that Proctor wrote about Read while he was investigating her for O'Keefe's death. The defense wants to be able to use Demandis to introduce those Proctor text messages without calling Proctor himself as a witness. Here's Karen Read leaving the courthouse a short time ago.
Call Michael Proctor.
Want to call Michael Proctor.
Walk and talk, walk and talk.
That's not Karen's call. It's her attorney's call.
It's ultimately your call, though. Why not call Michael Proctor?
I didn't even hear the question. I think
Why not call?
David just explained.
Now, part of the defense's explanation for why they don't want to call Michael Proctor as their witness is that it would be because it would limit the way that they can ask Proctor questions. Under legal rules, they would not be able to ask him what are called leading questions. Now, the judge did not immediately rule on this question about whether or not she will allow the friend's testimony to be the way that the defense can introduce Proctor's messages. Live in Dedham, David Meinick, WCVB News Center 5.
All right, David, thank you. And David is sharing his live notes from this trial. You can follow along in real time at WCVB.com/Karen Read and stream every moment of the trial live on our very local app.